Hello, everybody. I'm Zongetsu134.
And as always, I'm Average Joe Squad.
And welcome to another Hyphen Reviews, the show where you look at new movies in not a lot of time. And I'm pretty sure you can all guess, even if with the title, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Which, a little late because there's been some stuff going on recently.
And then we didn't get the camera charge, so and also we don't have the light charge, which is why we're using phones. But we're here now, and we've got our lights up. So, yeah. This is, of course, the final volume of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, they're probably going to show up in whatever big Avengers event's going to happen.
Yeah, or like Secret Wars.
And I'm sure Gunn will come back at some point, but for the foreseeable future, Gunn is probably not
going to be busy with DC.
Yeah, because he's going to be busy making the DCU. Whatever your feelings on that is, we're not going to get into that.
That'll be a video in its own time when we get a little closer to that being a thing, because there's nothing really to see right now. So
yeah, other than Warner Brothers being like, please watch The Flash, we promise Ezra Miller will get psychiatric help. But
somebody's gonna be fucking mad now.
Which
I don't really give a shit. I'm going to see that movie for Keaton. Nothing else in there is gonna top that. Fuck out of here.
I'm also pretty sure I'm not saying anything super.
No, but people, you know how people get.
No, I know.
We're just clueless, remember?
Yeah.
Like that one guy said, all these years later, that dude's still amusing us.
Well, you see the Marvel method.
Shut up.
But, so yeah, well, before we go into spoilers, I thought this was pretty good. I've really not seen either the other two Guardians movies in super full. I've really only seen clips. I was never a Guardians guy because, like, like a lot of people, didn't know who these characters were because I'm not the biggest Marvel space guy. You ask me about DC space stuff, I'll be like, oh, Lobo, Green Lantern.
That's kind of where I'm at. I know a little bit, like a lot of the stuff connected with like FF,
yeah.
You know, I'm aware of, or some of the Captain Marvel stuff I'm aware of.
Then
Cosmic Spider-Man, yeah. I'm aware of, like
Silver Surfer.
But not a whole lot, basically.
Yeah. Right, the other reason was when the first Guardians came out, I hated the way they did the Nova Corps. Straight up, there's a lot of things I love about the MCU. The way they did the Nova Corps was not it. Especially because, like, they're all dead now, so we don't even have Nova. Although I think that's mostly because they don't want to get complaints that they're doing Green Lantern, even though literally Nova was a ripoff of the Green Lanterns. But to be fair, what I have seen of the Guardians, I do like.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the second one all the way through. I've seen the first one because during COVID, our local theater put it on, and I had nothing to do that night, so I'm like, I'll go fucking watch Guardians. So, like, I like the franchise. The characters are okay.
Yeah.
I definitely like the music, love the soundtracks.
I really love
a
Rocket.
lot of good music in it.
Yeah.
You know, and Gunn is a pretty damn good filmmaker and a pretty damn good writer. Like, these are very well-crafted films.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, I'm not really the biggest Guardians guy.
No, that's fair.
And it's not me banging on Guardians. I'm just not into it.
It's just not into it, yeah.
You know, like, I kind of had the same issue with...
I'd say it's probably the best Star Wars thing Disney's ever made.
I kind of had the same issue with Shang-Chi. Like, it wasn't bad. I'm not that familiar, and I'm just not that into it.
Yeah,
you know?
like,
that's not a demerit. That's just me not being into it.
Yeah, like, to be fair, if we saw like Aquaman, probably you and I would both have the same thing when we reviewed it.
It's all right.
It's all right. We're not really big Aquaman guys.
Yeah, compare that to us going into a Spider-Man movie. There's gonna be a very drastically different.
Holy shit, guys!
Yeah, like. No, next month when Spider-Verse comes out,
no.
Holy fuck, we're gonna be going nuts.
No,
and it's also the month of my birthday.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man stuff for June.
I'm gonna
be that
pants.
guy. Yeah. I'm calling off work that Friday. I'm going to see it multiple times, and I'm going to the advanced showing I'm planning on.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I'll actually be at Three Rivers Con. I'm gonna meet Ron Friends, artist for Spider-Girl and many, many other titles.
Yeah.
So gonna be a great month.
No, it really is. But yeah, like, and to be fair, I do appreciate that, because I always argue the best MCU films are where the directors are allowed to put their own style.
Oh, definitely. I felt that way with Black Widow. I thought Black Widow was fantastic. I don't understand why a lot of people banged on that. I thought it was great.
I think a lot of it was just because...
hell, I went to see it multiple times. What does that tell you?
I think a lot of that was because that was when the complaints about, it's going to be all female MCU now, and just, the other more sensibles, I think everyone was like, too little too late, she fucking dead.
Yeah.
which that wasn't me. I was like, oh hey,
Yeah, I liked this
I liked
movie.
it.
Like, I own the steelbook for it, so.
But like, Iron Man, the first two Captain America films, both Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, it's very different going into a film when you have a perception of the characters. You know what I mean, it flavors how you experience the film.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go into a film and you have no expectations,
Yeah.
you usually walk out enjoying it. I had that with Cruella, remember?
Yeah.
I went and saw that one night, no expectations. I just was like, I'm just going to go see this.
Yeah.
Because I need something to do tonight. And then I came to see you after, and I was like, yo, that was actually really good. Like,
No,
I enjoyed it.
If it weren't for the fact that I'm so tired of us doing movies about villains that I don't think really deserve, I probably would have liked Cruella too.
Yeah, but anyway, back on topic to Guardians. So like I said, I went into this really no expectations. It was okay, in my opinion. Kind of middle, kind of like the last time we reviewed a movie, kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
Kind of the same with Quantumanium to me, and I know I'm probably gonna get some actual flack for that.
I don't
maybe, but. For me, and what I mean by middle of the road's not bad. Middle of the road's not amazing either.
It's
for
just
me, and it's just my
okay.
opinion. Yeah, like for me, again, as I've told a couple people now at this point, the main issue with me not thinking this is like this super amazing movie is I don't have an emotional connection to the characters.
Yeah, although
a lot of the emotional stuff in the film that I can tell was really good and really well written, it went over my head.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not attached to the characters. You know, and again, that's not a negative, and it's not me saying it's bad. It's just I thought it was a good movie. I didn't get the emotional kick out of it that a lot of other people did.
Yeah. As for me, like going into like the first full Guardians movie, I'm like, oh, I see now why Star-Lord people like him, even though he was like a huge chode in Infinity War letting Thanos get away.
Yeah.
Especially weird considering how he found out his dad gave his mom cancer and he just started blasting.
Yeah.
But no, I really like this as someone who like actually really likes Rocket Raccoon as a concept. Like this movie was a fucking punch to the gut.
Oh yeah. In case you haven't been made aware, there is a lot of, I wouldn't say explicit, but very, very much hinted at body horror and animal cruelty in this.
Yeah.
So I would, if you're really sensitive to that stuff, I would be wary. Like there were a couple parts of this movie where like he can attest. I was like pulling my phone out.
Yeah.
And like looking at Twitter.
Yeah.
To try to just kind of not look at the screen.
Like, and for me, like towards the end of this movie, I was like, man, I really hope this villain dies a horrible, horrific death because I'm fucking done with him.
This fucking RoboCop lookalike.
Oh god, I could not.
No, I could not see that.
After you said that, I'm like, god damn, he really is RoboCop. But yeah, like I said, I will admit though, like not getting too much into spoiler territory. The only real complaint I have with this movie is I didn't really care for the villain, and that's mostly because I don't think they really did a good enough job, like really.
With what, the high evolutionary?
Yeah, making him really come off as like a credible threat.
Oh, see, I had the opposite. I thought he was a great villain, honestly. But I'm also a little familiar because I'm an FF guy. So.
Like, and I think my problem is also like anything I've seen the High Evolutionary in, he comes off as like a major fucking dipwad, or just an idiot. Like that might be my problem, but I don't. That and like there's a lot of scenes where he comes off less as like Goebbels, as like Joseph Goebbels, and more like a child who isn't getting the way he's wanting to get it done.
Yeah, but I mean, the actor's performance was fantastic.
The actor's a great job. I just don't think
think the writing kind of held it back a little bit, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's not nearly as good as say like the guy that was in control of Starro in like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
or Starro in the Suicide Squad. But otherwise, I think this was really good, and I think the Guardians as a group was really, really good. Like every single one of them are amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Shout out especially to Karen Gillan, who plays Nebula, but that's mostly because I'm a big Doctor Who guy.
I was actually going to point out, I think she has the best performance in the whole film.
Oh, she
is amazing.
I do really like Mantis's actress, but that's mostly because I find Mantis really cute.
Yeah, well, like I said, every actor in this film did such a really, really good job, and like you could tell this was very much an emotional send off to these characters for the time being. So you could tell they really threw all the effort into it.
Yeah. The other thing is, like I said, if you're a really big Rocket Raccoon fan, this movie is all about Rocket. Like, it goes into his origins. And just as a whole, he steals the show, I think, in a lot of scenes. But overall, like I said, I think it's solid. The action's really good. The special effects are amazing. Like, I love the way they did that living tissue space station they were on. And just overall, I thought it was really, really good. Although, like I said, I have a few minor complaints, but we're going to get into that here in a second.
Yeah, so, all right, I guess at this point, let's do ratings real quick, and then we'll dive into spoilers.
Yeah.
My ratings for this, I'm gonna give it a 6.5, and I don't say that as a bad thing, but again, just as I talked about earlier, I don't really have an emotional connection to these characters, you know, and it's not that I'm not a fan of them. It's just I'm not really that close to the characters, so I feel like a lot of the stuff in this that people again had an emotional reaction to.
Yeah.
I went over my head in a sense because I'm just not attached to these characters. Now, again, it's a great film. It's a very, very great film.
No, it's very put together.
It's one of the better ones we've had since this new phase started.
Yeah.
But again, I gotta knock off a couple points just because again I wasn't really that into it, I guess would be the best way to say it.
Yeah.
But again, that's not a sign of a bad film. It just means that hey, it wasn't for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. It'd probably be like an 8 out of 10 if not for. I couldn't get into the High Evolutionary as like a big villain. But then again, I'm not really a big fan of the High Evolutionary. He comes off as just Dr. Moreau, but in space. But otherwise, I think I think this was a very solid film. I love the soundtrack. The ending really got me, even though I'm not like super into these films. And I think just overall, it was a really good send off for these characters. Low key, I think this is probably one of the best MCU trilogies because I think they were all solid films.
Well, yeah, I definitely will give you that one. It's just even without me having seen 2 all the way through, knowing Gunn's one of those directors right now that I usually trust for some quality, just because the stuff I have seen of his always usually is pretty good.
Yeah,
you know, even if it doesn't hit out of the park for me, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, and I know people could say that the Captain America trilogy is way better, which. First of all, those are 2 good films and a film that's at best. As someone who loves the Captain America films the MCU made, I love the Iron Man films that they were made, and only 2 of them are any kind of good, and one of them is just okay. But like, because I actually have seen people arguing about that because people have said this is probably one of the better trilogies in the MCU, and I'm like, yeah, because it doesn't feel like a badly made setup film like say Thor: The Dark World,
and it's also not. They're also all made by the same people.
They're also all made by the same person. Yeah. Whereas a lot of these other
movies are not made by the same
people. Like, I'm sorry, like you cannot say that Civil War is better than Winter Soldier or even as good as Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
it's not even better than First Avenger. But
and I'm bringing in the hot takes today. So, but anyway, yeah. So. Spoilers start here. If you haven't seen it yet, click off. Spoilers start now.
Yeah. I'm glad the High Evolutionary got his ass beat at the end of this movie.
Listen. The best part, I love that they were on Counter Earth because the minute that they mentioned that, I just look at him and I'm like, oh, Spider-Man Unlimited's here, right?
Yeah, I liked it, although I felt it was a little too on the nose about it being Counter Earth. Especially because going back to Spider-Man Unlimited, I always see on Counter Earth more like that.
Yeah, There's a certain style to how it looks on Unlimited that I don't really know how that would translate that well to.
No, that's fair.
It wouldn't have fit with the tone, I guess, of the film, but different strokes, different folks. So.
I also kind of, I'm glad we finally got Adam Warlock in the MCU.
You weren't a fan of him?
No, like the way
you're not the first person I've heard say that. So.
Yeah, like the Adam Warlock you get in like the Infinity Gauntlet and like other stories is like he is like this awesome character who is like one of the few people that can like keep Thanos on his toes. He's literally the reason everyone comes back to life because he manages to get the Infinity Gauntlet away from Thanos. And he's also the guy that rallies the heroes together. But at the same time, you can't just start with him like that.
Yeah, you got to build it out, but it doesn't mean it's any less frustrating.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's any less frustrating. That was probably one of my other big ones because I'm like, man, like, especially because I didn't even know that was Adam Warlock, and that's because they don't really play, because that's actually supposed to be the Soul Stone in his head. But he obviously he can't have it because
The stones are gone.
Are gone, reduced to atoms. But there's that. And just overall, like, well, I get what they were doing with the High Evolutionary. I don't think they really, especially when, like, you have Rocket being able to figure out what's wrong with his evolutionary chambers, and he's like 2. I don't know. It makes it come off as like kind of frustrating. Although I think they really do develop the animosity between him and the High Evolutionary, given what he does to Rocket's friends, and what Rocket does to him.
That was really gory, actually.
Oh no, he deserved that.
Yeah,
though.
he definitely did.
Also, will admit, I thought it was really funny that one of the things the High Evolutionary mutates first is a fucking turtle. I'm like, I see what you're doing there, James Gunn, making a joke about the Ninja Turtles.
Listen, man, all I know is if I'm Matt Murdock and I hear that some radioactive shit turned some fucking turtles into ninjas and shit, I'm gonna be pissed.
That would be funny. I will admit, like, I will admit, if you're a big knowledge of like Rocket's lore, like, because those characters he was in there are actually real characters.
I know.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I read stuff before I went in and watched it.
Okay, cool. Because they do introduce his friends Layla, Floor, and Teefs. Although I don't know if Floor and Teefs have a different name, but and of course in this, although I want to say in the original version of they're actually like aliens that simply look like animals. Either that or like they were simply mutated into those kind of animals via the High Evolutionary, not like they're made with cybernetic implants. Because I want to say Rocket's cybernetics come later, but basically in this, in developing the process to making the Animen, the High Evolutionary first started by basically taking animals apart and implanting them with cybernetics, and I guess slightly evolving their brains. It was really kind of vague on how they get their brains to get evolved. And basically he started doing that. He of course made these like sentinels that are like animals with cybernetic, which straight up, some of those were like the pig cops from like Duke Nukem.
I was actually about to say that. That really reminded me of that later when I looked at it.
That or the one that's like a rabbit with like octopus head. I'm like, that is fucking just the nemesis from Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing.
You're
there.
not slick.
But which those things were, I actually really like the way those were designed.
Oh yeah,
those were
the
hideous.
Special effects were great.
Those were hideous in a good way. But no, basically the plot with Rocket going through his life, because at the beginning of this he gets injured by Adam Warlock because the High Evolutionary wants Rocket back because he's the only thing that the High Evolutionary created that had its own will and thoughts. Like everything else that he's created basically is really great at memorizing what he wants them to memorize and learn, but none of them have their own thoughts because, again, Rocket was able to figure out what was wrong with the evolutionary chamber simply by looking at it, which made him believe that he was brilliant. But because the High Evolutionary is such a purist, he's like, just take him apart. I want to study his brain. I'm like, and then his plans falls apart when he decides that he's going to tell Rocket that he's not going to bring them with him and he's just going to take them apart to study. I'm like, you could have just lied and told him you were bringing them with him. But then the High Evolutionary's biggest flaw in this is that he's just obsessed with...
Oh, yeah. And again, the actor did a very, very good job of displaying that.
Like, he comes off as, like... I say a man-child, but he very much comes off as someone who his toys are not working right and he's having a fit.
Yeah.
To the point where at the end, he actually decides to let his own ship blow up to the detriment of, like, even his crew mutinies when they see he's just going to kill all of them.
Yeah.
But I really like, though, like I said, I really do like those moments. I really like the way they kind of ended their relationship between Gamora and Star-Lord at the end of this.
Yeah, it didn't feel forced. It felt very natural, and there's almost kind of like a hint that it might come back.
Yeah, like, deep down, this Gamora is still Gamora, even if she is five years, like,
it's
removed.
not the same one.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it also helps that like it also like because like Star-Lord and Gamora and Neptune are kind of the leaders of the Guardians. You can also see that the
You mean Nebula?
Nebula. What did I say?
Neptune.
Neptune. I don't know why I did
Thinking
that.
of Aquaman.
But like because you can see that Nebula wants her sister to be like the Gamora that she knows too, because this is still a Gamora that like is very clearly under the thralls of what Thanos used to be. Like I think that storyline was really really good. The stuff with Mantis and Drax was really really funny. Also, really building off their chemistry in the Guardians Christmas special, which that was really funny. Also, really liked the part with Drax and the kids that they rescue from the ship, and like how he basically is just like a dad. I don't know. I thought it was really cute. Anything you want to bring up?
You're bringing up pretty much everything I was going to bring up. Like I said, it's gonna be a short amount of shit from me because, like I said, I just didn't have that much of a connection.
Do you have anything you didn't like about the film, or that I haven't?
The use of that fucking Radiohead song at the beginning, because God, I hate fucking Radiohead with a passion.
No, that's fair.
And it's fucking creep. It's not even that great a song either. I know I'll catch flack for that from probably Doug, but I fucking hate Radiohead.
It also doesn't help that like half of it is Rocket singing.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay.
Yeah, but like again, I really liked the music in it, except for that song. Like using "Heart Crazy on You" was great in this.
Also, kind of hilarious. They talk about how they played up Sylvester Stallone is in this movie, and he's in like what 5 minutes of the film.
Yeah, like dude got a very good paycheck for doing next to nothing.
I used to be Grit. You see the Marvel.
Well, it's the same with fucking Groot. Vin Diesel. He says 6 words now.
Yeah.
So it's all different now. But like, so he's getting an even bigger paycheck. But you get what I'm saying.
The all new, all different Marvel.
Oh, fuck you. Stop. Why do you want a bunch of neckbeards pissed off at us and saying we're woke?
I don't give a shit. I make references all the time. If they want to get mad at me, I'm like, I can't help that. That's just how my brain is wired. You don't get anything to talk, Mr. I framed a picture of being blocked on Twitter by Nitin Slot.
Listen, you know damn well I'm proud of being blocked by that sloppy bitch. So.
Like, I literally almost got into a fight last night because people were mad that I didn't think the CGI was very good in the 97 Godzilla movie.
It's not. So, but anyway, continuing.
I don't think of anything else I didn't really... I also found that there was one line in the movie where like... And it's because of who it was. It was Gamora being, like, upset that the High Evolutionary genocided his entire planet to start over with a new counter-Earth. I'm like...
Thanos.
I was like, Gamora... Your dad was fucking Thanos.
Well, she's also aware of what happened in that timeline.
Yeah, I was about to say, his whole thing is he destroys whole planets or half of it because perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also really love Star-Lord and Groot's fight scene when they're getting the thing to fix Rocket. I love how he's got that one guy and he's like driving him to the dirt. He's like, only one of us has to survive. I'll just take the information out of your head. And he just fucking murders him by dropping.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
Like, no, him and Groot were stone cold during that. Especially because like they thought Groot didn't have weapons on him, and then he popped all them weapons out.
I was like, holy fuck. Okay, wait a minute.
Like him and Star-Lord murdering everybody. I was like,
damn.
Oh damn.
Like they're not fucking playing around.
Or that really awesome scene at the end where all of them fight all those dudes to rescue them kids.
Yeah.
And they're all just like killing everything, and I'm like,
yeah, that was such a beauously shot scene too. The cinematography,
oh my god, the cinematography
was great.
in this. Like all of the fights in this are really, really good. I also love the part where you and I were trying to be like, is that Nathan Fillion?
Oh yeah. Listen, the best part of the whole movie was my boy fucking Howard the Duck showing.
Oh my god,
for 5 seconds
with yet another design for his animated model.
But I was like, damn, when my boy gonna get a movie finally?
No, I know. I really wish they'd just make Howard a movie or just have him like a TV show.
Yeah, have him show up in something, please.
Of course, with the writer's strike, I don't know when that's gonna be.
Yeah, because Daredevil's on hold right now.
Yeah, don't remind me.
So is Blade.
Yeah. I mean, granted, that's good.
But yeah,
people should be paid what they're paid.
Yeah. Anything else you wanna add? Because I've really said all I have to say. Like I said, good movie, just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, I really liked it. I might need to go back and finally just sit down and watch the other two Guardians movies.
Yeah, you might get like the emotional impact out of it.
I mean, there was still a lot of good emotional impact because it was a really good film.
Yeah.
Oh, I really didn't need that scene where Star-Lord's face is like bulging as he's being trapped in the vacuum of space.
Oh yeah, that was like, oh, okay,
I was like,
wait a minute.
yeesh.
So,
but otherwise, yeah, I think it's a good movie. Go see it. I mean, if you're a Guardians fan, you're already going to go see it.
Yeah, but even if you're just an MCU guy, like just go see it. Like,
yeah, I think it's a good movie. If you like really stylish space action, watch this because pretty much nothing Disney does Star Wars wise is going to be really that great, and this is probably the closest thing you're going to get. All right, so I pissed off the Star Wars fans. Yeah. Otherwise, I think that's really going to be it. Sorry, it's kind of short. I think we might be able to pop out another review here because I've got something for us to do, but that's going to be for another night because we tired. So, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this hyphenated reviews. You got anything before I?
No, that's it.
All right. Until then, whatever the next review is, I'm Zangetsu134.
And I'm Joe Squad.
And as always,
We ask you
to remember the hyphen
and take care.